And welcome back to the Bounce Stadium Rants flagship NBA program. I am Kevin. Of course, as always, I have with me the great James Schmeitz. James, how you
Great.
doing? Mm-hmm.
I am doing great. I appreciate that introduction, Kev. I will take that.
Hey, I mean it. Absolutely. We're glad to have you back. We're glad to have you at home watching. Now, let me say, before we dive into it, this is a fan-friendly and interactive show, if you will. So we would love your comments, questions, thoughts, especially with the upcoming All-Star weekend. We've got some mid-season awards we'll be
hmm
giving out here in the Bounce later in the show. So go ahead and get those thoughts in there as a comment. We would love to feature you on the show. But back to my co-host James. How you doing? How should we start this uh new era in the NBA? It
New
feels
era,
yeah,
huh?
I watched Ant-Man today, which is very
Oh,
fitting
you
after
did? You
yeah.
went? Oh
Yeah,
man,
oh yeah.
I wasn't able to sneak it in after work and before this. I needed a 6 o'clock showing and there was a 7 o'clock, so I couldn't make it work.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will not spoil anything,
Oh,
but
let's just go with this. Yay or nay? Recommend seeing it, or I'm gonna see it,
yeah,
but
yay or nay? Yay. I'd watch it. I
I've
I,
heard.
I enjoyed my time
Mhm.
watching
That's what
it.
I've heard, and I've heard Jonathan Majors is awesome. I've heard he's really
That
good.
dude is phenomenal. Listen,
Yep,
I
I've
know
heard
this
that.
is a basketball podcast, but I saw the trailer for Creed 3 as well.
Oh, he's huge.
That dude can act, man. He
Yeah, he's good. I like
I
him.
haven't seen the first 2 Creeds. I want to now go back and
I
watch
haven't
those
either.
movies so I'll know what's that's how good
Yeah,
of an actor he is. A 90-second trailer made me wanna go watch 2 decade-old movies.
I
So,
don't know where he came from either. I don't remember him from anything up until like when he was in the Loki TV series. That's the first thing I remember him in, and I've never seen him before.
just yeah, me either. Just popped out of nowhere,
And he's
and
taking the
all of a
world by
sudden,
storm.
he's on a star-studded lineup, and you know, he may be Hollywood royalty soon. And speaking of Hollywood,
Yeah,
the Lakers
they.
are maybe finding themselves back in LA's good graces, James. How much stock should we put into the blowout victory? Was it
Oh
2020?
man, so we've got the first game with them together. So it's the first game they've all played. Results are pretty good, man. 120-102 win over the Pelicans, and they were up big most of the game. Anthony Davis 28, LeBron 21, D'Angelo Russell 21 on 12 shots. That's impressive right there. That's 3 of 5 from downtown, 80% from the free throw line. He added 7 assists too. Like that's not the D'Angelo Russell that left LA years ago. That's not
No,
him.
it's not.
Completely different player. Um, Malik Beasley had 8. He was 2 for 7 from three. He didn't shoot it great, but I'm not worried about him one bit. Mo Bamba, 16 minutes, 4 points, fouled out.
He'll
That's
figure it out. He's been
that's pretty
working on his
good.
threes already.
hmm
Seen him in the gym working on his corner
Yeah.
threes.
Jared Vanderbilt, 3 for 3, 6 points, plus 10, 4 rebounds. Um, man, Kev, I kind of like him. I kind of like him.
Anything from Rui? Hachimura get
I
anything
think he
done?
had four.
Okay.
4 points, 4 rebounds, 16 minutes.
What a
0 for
short
4 from three.
talk
They
about your
now
15 minutes of fame, huh?
right, yeah, like he's now just he was technically not throwaway, but they still shot terrible from three. That's concerning. Um, LeBron 0 for 5, Rui 0 for 4. What is Mo Bamba doing taking 5 threes?
Hey, told you he's been in the gym. He's learning a new role.
I went over that stat like 3 times there. I'm like, wait a second, does that say 0 for 5?
What is he doing? No,
So they
I
are
I appreciate
27%
it.
from three.
I think Lakers fans, you're gonna have to deal with some very bad Mo Bamba shooting nights, but if he's in the gym working on it this
I
much,
guess.
I mean, look, let's go back. How many episodes was it? Was it like around episode 7, 8? We talk about Brooke Lopez.
Yeah.
Like, I, guys can do this. This dude's
Yeah.
young. He got plenty of time in the gym, and all he's got to do for this team is block a couple shots, get rebounds, and hit open threes.
Yeah.
They will maybe throw him a lob every time or every now and
Yeah.
again, but they don't want him either Anthony Davis won't be on the court, or if they're both on the court, Bomba's not going to be anywhere near the paint on offense. So
Mm-hmm.
you might as well start jacking up threes.
You
So
know what?
you're going to suffer early, but it may pay off.
And I guess I'm wrong. I just pulled up his stats here. I just assumed he didn't shoot him. He's a career 35.7 3-point shooter on 2.6 per game. He was 39% for the Magic, almost 40% on 2.7 per game. So I guess I'm the idiot here. Now, 0 for 5. Now the thing is, he's going to get wide open shots. So if he can make one or two, man. Let's go out standings here. Let's talk standings here, Kev. So they are 13th. They are 2 games back from 10th in the Thunder. They are only 3.5 games back from 6th. How do you feel about these guys going forward? They have played 59 games. Had to do the math in my head there, folks. I pulled that off. So they've got 25 remaining. Kev, what are your thoughts? Where are these guys going to end up? How do you like them? What do you think?
Oh, let's look at this. We've got 26 and 32. I expect a winning streak. I really do with this group. I would have to take a closer look at the schedule to try to pick my spot.
I wanted to go through it. I didn't get time. I was going to go through and see who they played, and I'm going to pull it up while you're talking.
That could, I was going to say, we can pull it up now. That could be a feature for the next episode. But I'm going to take a little route here while I go through these teams. I think the best way to do this, really, just like a old school math problem or something. Let me factor out the ones that I know aren't going to drop, right? So Denver, not going anywhere. Memphis, second. They're not falling anywhere close. Let me get realistic. The Lakers' ceiling to me, what is it? Maybe a 6 seed? Because they're 14.
I think the 6 is the highest. They're not getting any higher than that.
Yeah, they're not that far from that realistically, right? They're 4.5 games out of, well, you can throw the 5th seed up there, but here's my thing. Out of those 6 teams, I don't see the Lakers winning enough games to catch up. Like, who's going to start unless the Clippers, the wheels fall off. That was
I don't think with the way Kawhi's playing, not Kyrie, that the Clippers are going down. I think they're going to go up the way he's 100%. Playing right now.
Yeah, and by wheels fall off, I mean literally. Kawhi and Paul George would have to both get hurt, and even then, this Clippers team is so deep. We'll talk about them a little bit more at length, but that might be the best second unit in basketball. I was amazed watching that. I couldn't stay awake for all 4 quarters. I watched about 6 hours of basketball straight on Tuesday, but those 3.5 quarters I watched of the Clippers against the Warriors, they could have beat anyone that night. They are talk about it's frustrating. Someone else is getting called the mid-range mafia when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are on the same team, and not that the Suns won't earn that nickname, but we got to talk about the Suns too. They're not going anywhere. Dallas, they're already working through some issues, but everything sounds good. Everything sounds right. I hear both star players taking accountability. That's a good sign.
Their stretch here, man. Let me give you the next 11
for LA.
Yeah, they got a beast of a weekend. It's home versus Golden State, at Dallas, at Memphis, at OKC, home Timberwolves, home Memphis, or home Golden State, home Memphis, home Toronto, home New York Knicks, at the Pelicans, and then March 15th is their first cupcake. It's at Houston. And they got back-to-back games with Chicago in late March. They got another game against Houston, a Jazz game in there, 2 Jazz games. Whoa.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for a run.
There is not a lot of room for error, man.
You mentioned
you said, a run.
Yeah, Jazz games, those are wins I expect. I think they'll I don't know if I like them against the Timberwolves right now. I like
Conley's playing. He's the P. Like he works. He works for them.
He is what they need. He works, and I think the Wolves could go up. Now, New Orleans is starting to scare me because I heard yesterday Zion's injury is going to be taking even longer than they expect.
They are
reevaluated after the All-Star break.
Your boy Brandon Ingram's playing out of his mind right now, but the problem with them is if Zion's out, it just destroys them. I mean, Brandon Ingram's had 25 points in 5 straight games, at least 25. I didn't see that update on Zion. If Zion can't get healthy, man, they're done. They
Yeah,
might like they. I could see them falling out.
yeah, it's unfortunate. But it is possible. Yeah, because you've got. I mean, the teams I see falling out when we look at the 10 right there. I see Utah falling out. I do not see Golden State falling out. I think Golden
Mm-mm.
State will be around 7 or 8 when it's all said and done.
I think Golden State's going to hover at 500 the rest of the. I think that's just right where they're going to be. They're going to be a
Yeah,
team that I think they're a playing team, but they're also everybody's going to say that they're still Golden State. Like Steph gets healthy, Gary Payton gets healthy. You're not going to want to play them.
right. And yeah, they're not wrong for thinking that. I mean,
Yep.
didn't expect them to be the champion last year, but
Got
I
hot at
think
the right time. Remember, they weren't great.
it's all it
You know.
takes. It's all it
Mm-hmm.
takes, that and the experience and,
Yep.
having the wherewithal in those late minutes and
Yep.
for that, for what it's worth, I do think that's another big addition, Mike Conley going to Minnesota, and that's why I think Minnesota will stand pat. They'll be
Mm-hmm.
around 7 or 8. I unfortunately, T-Wolves fans, I do think you're in the play, and again,
I think so too.
I'm gonna be one that will continue to give Sacramento their credit. I think
Man, I agree with you there. I they got to get better defensively. That's their big issue right now is defensively, but their offensive numbers are elite.
yes, and their clutch numbers. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
little foreshadowing for some of our mid-season awards, but I've seen De'Aaron Fox's name listed as the
Mm-hmm.
potential first winner of the Clutch Time Award,
Oh
whatever that one
yeah,
is.
all those weird awards.
I'm not a fan of it, but hey,
Yeah. What do
there's
we know?
that.
What do we know?
Yeah, what do we know? And Portland, I don't see Portland in the
Mm-mm.
play, and really like what this team has done. Hey, did you see that Cam Reddish? What do you have? 18 his first night?
18, yeah, he had 18 in their loss to the Wizards on
Maybe
Tuesday. Yeah, maybe
maybe this is something we talk about some young cores, man. We
maybe
got
he can build on.
Cam, we got Shaden Sharp over there, Anthony Simon, who
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately will not be in the 3-point contest now, but hey,
Man, I wish for them and for Dame they would trade Dame. I want to see Dame on a good team, and he's just wasting there, and they could get so much for him. Like, he's not the guy. He's not going to demand it. He doesn't want to leave. It's just, man, what a waste.
it's not going to happen until he's past his prime. He's going to
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah,
in
man.
this. Now, maybe he'll have a Chris Paul-esque decline, and what I mean by that is, to be completely honest with you, I did not expect Chris Paul to still be even in the league at this
Mm-hmm.
point. If you had asked me 3 or 4
Yeah,
years ago, let alone still a starting point guard. I know he misses a
yeah,
lot of time, but when he plays, just earlier this week he had 19 assists. Nothing to see here.
yeah,
And
man.
KD's not even playing yet, and they're without Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. So technically, they're not better yet than they were last week, and he's out here
Mm-hmm.
dishing out
Yeah,
19
man.
times.
That was speaking of, like, I know we're kind of weirdly off top. That was a big game on Tuesday.
Yeah,
The Suns beat the Kings. The Suns are fourth. Kings are third. Booker had 32, 13 to 20 from the field. DeAndre Ayton had 29, 13 to 17 from the field. And CP3, just like you said, he had 17 points and 19 assists.
yeah.
Mind you, Kevin Durant has not played a second for them yet. They're going to be good.
And I'll just say this, I'll put a pin in the Lillard thing for the future and just say, I think he's going to be someone who gets traded after he, is worth,
Mm-hmm.
his value will be down. He won't be a superstar
Yep.
anymore
He
when he
won't be what
finally
he is
starts to
now.
title
Yeah.
chase. But to
Yep.
pivot to Phoenix, because they are a team we need to talk about. You mentioned
Mm-hmm.
someone whose name I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I'll also be watching him as he plays on the court. But DeAndre Ayton, if he buys in to his new scenario, and
Mm-hmm.
if Chris Paul and Cam Payne remember to feed him 2 or 3 passes a quarter into the paint,
Yep.
he could live like a king
Mm-hmm.
simply,
You can't send more at him.
on the offensive glass and just on the pick and roll. How many of these teams are going to say, yes,
Mm-hmm.
give us Ayton on the roll over, again, the mid-range mafia? Would I rather have Booker or Durant on a pull-up or Ayton driving? So Ayton could really see his game flourish and develop again.
Mm-hmm.
and be the guy that we saw the reason he became a max guy in
Yeah.
the first place. So what do you think, James? We haven't got to see it yet. Are you sold without seeing any of this, especially after that big win this week? Are you sold on Phoenix? Are they going to be up there in those that top 2, top 3 of the
Yeah.
West?
I think, man, I put their ceiling at 2 right now. I don't. Denver's not going to get caught. They're 9 games ahead. Denver has solidified themselves as the best in the conference. They have the best record. They're 41-18. They've got the third best record in the league. I mean, them and Milwaukee's essentially the same. You talk about DeAndre Ayton, man. Here's his last, Jesus, 5 games. 29-11, 22-11, 23-2, 35-15, 31-16, 14-10. And a 20-9. He's averaging 24.9 points in January, 10.6 rebounds, 1.9 assists, shooting 72% from the field, 80% from the free throw line. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Yep.
That's pretty good, man. They've won 5 of 7 in February. They're gonna be, man. They're dangerous. Like I'm not gonna. I refuse to jump them over Denver because Denver's been playing with the same core all year. Like there's going to be some growing pains here, and you're also talking about doing it almost 60 games into the season. You're 59 games into the season, and KD is, man, you don't know how they really haven't given an update. It's after the All-Star break on him, so they're going to have, I mean, anywhere from 10 to 20 games with him before the
Yep.
playoffs.
Which
That's tough. That's tough.
It's very tough. I would say, luckily, it's Kevin Durant. And
Yeah.
and not only Kevin Durant, of course, because he's a superstar, but because of the way Kevin Durant scores for you. Yes, you can just clear out, you can post him up, depending on his matchup, and he can take those, elevated mid-range jumpers over somebody, or you can just run, I don't know what different sets call it, but I'll use the 2K lingo so everybody knows what I'm talking about. You can run floppy for him, and you can just run 2 down screens for him, let him come off a curl, and either curl, get the mid-range jumper, or flare out to the three-point line and hit it. Or you can, have him go out in the corner, run a pick and roll, and then if his man is foolish enough to commit and collapse, then you kick it. There's a lot of very easy ways to get a guy like Kevin Durant his shots.
Yeah.
And he's an efficient shooter who doesn't need it. He's not a usage machine who's going to dribble the hell out of the ball in order to shoot a pull-up jumper. So, he's more, him and Klay Thompson have that uncanny ability to score on just an insanely low number of
Monty
dribbles.
Williams, Monty Williams, good coach too. That they run that all that pick and roll stuff, like they've got creative stuff, man. They'll find a way.
Plus, they have Devin Booker, so it's not like all they have to do is say, "Well, let's run some dev sets for KD." They have a very similar skill set. So
I
they're going
think
to be
the meshing is just all I worry about. Like the talent's going to be there. Like, man, they got 3 max dudes, CP3. Like they've got the dudes.
Right.
The question, like, can they mesh and can they figure it out in such a short amount of time? Because every team that's done this, we've seen some struggles, we've seen some highs. Like my worry with them is maybe we won't see the peak Phoenix Suns this year, just because of the time it's going to take to mesh. Like they're going to hit the playoffs, and it's going to be live. Maybe we're not going to see peak KD Suns this year. Maybe we won't see that till next year, just because it's a timing thing. If this had happened 40 games ago, it'd be a little different, but it's tough.
I think that's fair. They're also, just to add to your argument, you would get an off season of free agent signings. I believe Phoenix is going to become a free agent destination over the off season, believe it or not. And so for that, I would absolutely agree with you. Now, I don't know if Chris Paul will be a part of that project next year. And that is where I think this whole thing rests on Chris Paul. And it's off to a good start. I wish I had the tweet to share. I don't, but I will recount it for you as best as I can. But he essentially has already told Devin Booker how special this is to have the 3 of them together. And that he, Chris Paul, at his age, at this point of his career, is not taking that for granted. And the quote,
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing here, was that, I highly suggested to Devin that he not take this for granted either. Essentially saying this
Mm-hmm.
might be the best team that you ever get to play on.
Yep.
Now's the time to
Mm-hmm.
find that extra gear and make something happen. So Chris Paul may be the right leader for this.
Yeah, maybe.
I question what concerns me is the Ayton of it all. We've talked about that, and you've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
Monty Williams is a great coach. I don't think
Yep.
anyone's going to disagree with that, but
Mm-hmm.
we have seen the outbursts in the sideline. We've seen it in
Yeah.
game during timeouts. So I wonder if they're between Monty and Ayton, and then as you said, those three big personalities, are there going to be some ruptures, some growing
Yep.
pains?
Mm-hmm.
Because as you said, X's and O's on the offense, good luck trying to stop that unit. But they could be a team that only they could stop them. But you've got three guys who have
Mm-hmm.
all missed some time with injury,
Yep.
and they don't have a lot of time to get it figured out. So I would say I'm with you. The Suns absolutely they're going to be a second round playoff team at the very least. I think they'll be in the mix for the Western Conference
Mm-hmm.
Finals, but give me Denver.
Yeah, I love Denver, man. I love
And
them dudes.
And while we're talking about them, I
Yeah.
think we'll just go ahead and pivot. They've added some depth here this
Uh-huh.
week by the man named Reggie Jackson.
Yep. Who was rumored to be joining the Suns and did not join them.
Yeah, the Suns did add Terrence
There he
Ross, though.
is.
So we can, Terrence Ross, that is a very nice addition for
Yep.
Phoenix. I don't want to gloss over it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're about to move on from that, but we can maybe talk about Terrence again if we get to all of we've got a buyout tracker over here. We've got about
Mm-hmm.
14 guys we're looking at, but we'll just say that Terrence Ross, big addition for Phoenix,
Yep.
a nice quality player. Happy to see him playing for a contender. He
Yep.
went from he put in all that time with Toronto, only to get sent to Orlando as soon as they got good. And now, he's finally going to get to play for a winner. Very happy to see it. But yeah, back to Denver, Reggie
Yep.
Jackson, right? That plugs a hole.
Yep. The Bones Highland trade, it fills that role, that backup point guard role. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. Now, not in a sense, I'm not going to sit here and say that was an upgrade, although consistency wise, maybe.
Yeah. It's so interesting, that Bones thing. To me, it just seems like something was going on that we don't know about. Like they just shipped him away.
Yeah.
He was on his second year of his contract. Like it just I don't know. Something didn't add up to me.
I agree with you. It wasn't a great return either, was it?
Yeah,
it
was a second round pick. I think it wasn't nothing.
Yeah,
crap.
Not a good return. That leads me to believe that yes, there were some chemistry issues, because I don't think anyone can question the potential there. I mean, he's done it. He's even had some big playoff moments, So it's all there with Bones. And what I keep hearing,
man.
we heard it last week, right? Shout out to Nolan
Mhm.
Brooks. He was on the show with us last week. He's a Denver fan. He was saying all of these things. Bones has his moments. They know the potential's there, but he doesn't fit the timeline. They need to win right now. And he's wanting more playing time, which I find it interesting that Thomas Bryant ended up there, talking about the guy who wanted out of a pretty good situation. But that's kind of how I feel about Bones Island. He wants out of a great situation. He was blessed to end up in the Clippers, but I don't see how it's not that different of a situation.
No, he's not going to be the guy. Like I don't know, man. It screams something behind the scenes, maybe an attitude or something, like for them just to dump him like that. To me, just says they were tired of it. Like something does not make sense to me on that one.
Now I'll be rooting for a Will Barton reunion there in Denver, but
there's a buyout. Like I would love to see that too. Now I don't know how he feels about getting shipped away, and he was a starter on that team. Don't know how he feels about that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think. Do you think this is enough? Are you still content? I think as we checked the temperature last week, which was everything was fresh. The trade deadline had just happened. We were still feeling pretty good about Denver at the top. Is that you think they've done enough? Have you heard of any other potential buyout candidates for them. As I look, I'm just going to read off
I
the
don't. Yeah,
list.
go ahead and read them, but I don't.
Yeah, we've got Westbrook, who I would say no. I've heard 4 teams named. They aren't. They mean they just filled that backup point guard.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm going to
don't. They
skip.
don't. They don't want him.
I'm going to skip the Beverleys, the John Walls. So who else we got? We got big men. We have Kem Birch, Serge Ibaka, Rashawn Holmes, Kevin Love, the soon to be free
Yeah,
agent
I don't know where
Kevin Love.
Kevin Love will be interesting to see where he ends up. They traded for Thomas Bryant though as that backup. They want a defensive big. That's what they got him for.
Yeah.
So that doesn't. I could see. Are they gonna stay? I could see him just staying put, man. Like the Joker is. I mean, I think he's far and away the best player in the league. Would you disagree with me?
I would not disagree with you. And since we are talking about it, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up
Yeah.
because not a lot of others are disagreeing with you.
Remember earlier in the season when the betting odds were favored on Tatum and the Joker was like plus 1,000.
Yeah. Wow. If you took those,
yeah,
you're feeling very good
he
today.
had his 21st triple double. He's averaging a triple double. Obviously, we only know that 2 people in the history of the game have done that.
Wow.
He had 14, 13, and 10 against the against the Mavericks. They're 27 and 4 at home, man. That's a monster number. God, that's crazy. You know, and that's such a big deal. If they get the 1 seed, which they're trending to, like you got to go through Denver, and they're that good at home. Look at that, 26 and 4 at home. That's disgusting. Or 20. They're 20.
Is this outdated? This seems to be old because I think Golden State.
Yeah. Because
7 and 22 now.
Let me pull the standings.
Maybe I'll refresh.
Yeah, it's 20 yet because they've won. This counts last night's game into it, so you might have just taken it before that finishes. No worries. I mean, 27 and 4 is a number, dude. That's insane.
Yeah, they are. They're in a good spot. They're well on pace to keep it up. 41 and 18. I don't know. I'm still good with Denver, and I can't disagree. We're about to see what this would only be the 3rd time in history, right? For us to see a 3-peat at MVP.
Yep.
I will also just give that comment. I'll give it a compliment, right? Props where they're due, but also wish we had come around to this way of thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know, around 2013, 2014, maybe as early as 2011. Listen, I was a Jordan kid. I still, in my heart might believe Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time, but it is a travesty that LeBron James does not have more MVP awards in this league. It really is. I don't.
He got snubbed out of a couple of them because of voter fatigue.
Yeah, because we weren't willing to do this, which is just be honest about who is the best, most valuable player to the NBA. So unfortunate. It's kind of it's a mixed feelings here. It's a bitter pill to swallow, knowing how many times, like how much we needed this in the past, how many other guys didn't get their accolades. Yeah, other guys have gotten screwed, and this won't make them feel any better. But hopefully it means that we're going to get it right going forward and care less about the optics and just do what is right, pick the right people to win. So speaking of win, now I'm going to switch this over to a very big game on Tuesday. Well, maybe we'll discuss how big of a game it actually was, but the Bucks and the Celtics.
I mean, it technically is a big game. It's number 1 versus number 2 in the East. It is a big game.
And here we
there's
have
a problem with it, though.
Yeah, there's an asterisk next to this big game because some key players were missing. But let's see how regulation ended, shall we? For those of you who missed it. Don't love this action on the play, by the way. Did not get any separation, but it doesn't matter because Hauser throws up a prayer and he gets it.
Oh man.
Whoosh. So okay, before we break down the entire game and talk about whether or not it was a big win, there was a debatable topic here, James, as I'm going to go ahead and show the folks at home this again while I ask you this question. There's 7.4 seconds left. The Bucks are up 3. Stan Van Gundy made mention that Mike Budenholzer is one of the few coaches in the league that does not foul in these scenarios. So I ask you this, James, up 3,
Mm.
less than 10 seconds to go, up 3. Are you a foul guy or are you a play defense guy? And I will
I'm
also throw out maybe it's situational. Is it depending on the
This
scenario?
game, it's situational. Let's get that one out of the way. With the roster that the Celtics had out there, they were playing without Tatum, Jalen Brown, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford. So let's get that out of the way. This was
Yep.
situational.
Yeah.
I'm still old school, and I still like not to foul. I like to play it out. But that's why you do it. Like I get it. It's like it's just an old school mentality. Like everything says you should foul there. Like that, so that doesn't happen under 10. I get it, but I'm sticking with it. We're not fouling.
It's tough, and I hear my thoughts on it are this. I said this in my last Bite Size Sports podcast. When I was playing, if we were down, I hated it, and it was the most cowardly move anyone could ever make. But if we were up, I thought it was genius. I thought it was
Yeah.
smart. You got to play to win. To the victor
Oh
go the
yeah.
spoils, all that stuff. So,
Winning Kev versus losing Kev mindset right there.
yep,
Whichever one you want.
exactly. What do you want? You want to stand on principle? Well, that's what you do when you lose.
Yep.
You're like, oh man, if you had any morals, you'd have given me a chance to win.
Mhm.
No, so I am team foul in that scenario.
Yeah.
I again acknowledge the situational aspect of it. And we talked about that a little bit in the pre-show where I originally was dogging Budenholzer for this, and then as I slept on it and thought about what you said, given the lineup, I might have let it ride in that scenario.
That one's just trickier with they I mean when they had Derek White led them with 27, Brogdon at 26, but no Jason Tatum, no Jalen Brown, no Al Holford, no Marcus Smart. Like it shouldn't have been that close. Let's get this one out of the way, Kev. Like
Also,
that should
yes,
not have been an
it shouldn't have
overtime
been that
game.
close, and I think what they had in their back pocket was the knowledge that if this thing goes into overtime, we got it because
Yeah, I mean, there's also the thought process too, and they
they're
did. They got it.
they did, and that's exactly what happened. And you mentioned Derek White, and he should get his props because he
Yeah, he
played a
played
good
good. He
game.
played good. Him and
But
Brogdon played good.
overtime turned into the Derek White show, and it was not. That's not how you beat a team that's better than you.
Mm-hmm.
The way unless you have Kyrie or Luka, those guys can ISO all they want, but the way that an undermanned team wins and the way that that team had been winning was with ball movement.
Mm-hmm.
That's Celtics
Mm-hmm.
basketball. So
Yep.
he got a little too hot in the fourth quarter, and then they paid for it as a team in overtime because he was just dribbling out the full shot clock and then just taking the shot that he wanted. So it cost them in the end, and I do think the Bucks kind of were hanging on the fact that hey, we took their best blow. We took the best that they've got, and we overtook them in the fourth quarter. So if they send it to
Mm-hmm.
overtime, we're just gonna pound them into submission. And props to Drew Holiday, by the way, very much
Yeah, man. He
an all-star with his 40-point, led all
40
scorers that
points,
night.
8 threes, 8 of 12 from three. Man, he was good. Giannis had 36. Yeah, they play. I mean, wins a win, man. That puts them 40-17. They are one game back of the Celtics. Celtics are 42-17 now. Let's check the score. They were winning tonight. Bad news is Giannis got hurt earlier. He hurt his wrist. Played 9 minutes. I don't know. We don't have an update on how bad it is. He was ruled out for the game. He had 2 points. That was it. They are going to win. They're up 109-88 on the Bulls. So they're gonna go into the All-Star break on a 12-game winning streak. Kev, they are rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Brook Lopez had 33 right now. 33 on 18 shots. He was 3 of 6 from downtown. Drew Holiday 15-9, 15-9-6. Let's see here. Is that Jalen? It's Jalen Carter, right? Is that who it is?
Javon.
Or Javon? Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, Javon Carter. Sorry, I lost my mind. He's got 22 tonight on 12 shots. Is that yeah? AJ Green's got 15. My boy from Northern Iowa. Is he playing here? Sure is. He's got 15 points tonight. Good for him. Love that dude. He killed us so many times. He was so good. I see Jay Crowder has not played yet. Do you have any update on him? Is he I'm sure he's got to get back into game shape.
I don't have any updates yet. We'll have to look into that one. But yeah, my big takeaway from that, not well, okay, yes, of course, the Bucks have won 12 straight, so credit where it's due. Chicago, man.
They
How
screwed up, man. They screwed
how
up.
dumb do they look in hindsight for not selling at the trade deadline? Because they're
Well,
not even
they're in no
competitive.
man's land because they're missing picks too. Like they
Yeah,
screwed up. Okay, so I
lost to
just I
Pacers last
just
night. Oh, you found it?
I did a Twitter search. So Jay Crowder, I got video of him here. He is getting shots up before the game.
Ooh.
Won't play. Return to competition conditioning. I assume that's what it was. I assumed he was just not ready yet.
Yeah, because you can stay, and
He
I'm
was
before anyone, jumps in the comments about how could a guy not be working out, not being in game
different.
shape.
It's
Let us
different, man.
just
It's
say
different.
it's different. You can't simulate it as
Nope.
much. I mean, James, what do you think? You've run practices and all this stuff. You've been
Can't.
involved with this. Even scrimmages in practice is not the same. Guys aren't
Nope.
going the
Nope.
same.
And also, don't forget that he wasn't practicing with the Suns. He was completely not doing anything with them. So all his conditioning, everything is on his own. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, this looks good. Like his shots going in. This ain't full. I mean, this is all spot shooting, slide shooting. Man, I don't know if he's missed one since I started watching. Like he looks good, but he hasn't been in practice, no game. Like it's different, man. Like if you even take out, like he hasn't even practiced. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, it could be a while. Now, I think we may see it's weird to make this comparison because it's for two very different reasons, but we may see them take, a Jonathan Isaac approach.
Just
Start
take some
bringing him
time.
in just
Yeah.
start bringing him in for 8 minutes a game
Mhm.
here, have him pop in for the last 2 minutes of quarters here and there. But once he's in, that's some extra
It's
floor
such a great
space.
addition for him. I love it. He's going through full workout before the game. His shot looks great. He's hitting everything, but it's just going to take some time here.
I didn't wanna hold the people out, so here you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
You
Yeah,
see some of
I
this.
found a second one. That's now the one I'm watching. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's alright. I just figured
Slides
let's
like
let's
no,
let
it's
the
nothing
folks see.
crazy. He looks good.
He's out there, he's ready to go. So, interesting. I don't know if we'll see him in tonight's game. He's got his gear on. I
Nope,
mean,
it said he was announced he wouldn't play.
oh, he's announced he wouldn't
Yeah,
play.
there's another one that I was watching that says he won't play tonight. So you got a good stretch here though. You got some time after the All-Star game to um, get him up to speed, get him going, get him fully conditioning up. I don't actually know when's the next set of games after this.
That's a very good question.
I'm gonna pull up the schedule here because I actually don't know. So tonight's the last set of games until. Wow, let's go.
Start Wednesday? Tuesday? I know Wednesday's usually a big slate, so I would imagine it would
Nope,
start
it's not
next.
Wednesday. It's next Thursday. So they've got a
Oh,
week here.
wow.
There's a
Look at
whole week.
that.
Whoa,
Good
Kev, the bounce
good
next
for
Thursday.
us.
The bounce next Thursday is a beast. Whoa. Whoa. Let me just read off some of these. Denver, Cleveland, Memphis, Philly, Pelicans, Toronto, Golden State, LA. Your boys play Boston, Portland, Sacramento. That is a big whoo-wee. That's a fun Thursday next week. We're gonna have some fun. That's going to be happening all while we're on. So, but yes, they got a week from today. Like I bet you, or actually, they don't play next Thursday. They play Friday. They got the Heat at home. I bet you next Friday he debuts. Heat at home.
Heat at home? Okay.
Yep,
I pulled
next
up
Friday.
this Thursday slate.
The
Uh,
Thursday slates. Of course, favorite of the Pacers. I get, but
oh, yeah, whoops. Well, for what it's worth, I've got the Lakers favorited too, but that's just for
yeah,
news purposes.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so, look forward to the Bounce second half kickoff special. It
yeah,
sounds like we
it
will
is gonna be
maybe
fun.
be doing a lot of, play-by-play, a lot of in-game
Very well
analysis for
could be.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the docket here. We still have at least one game from earlier in the week to talk about a little bit, maybe two actually. So I wanted to check in with you, James. How are you feeling about the new look Brooklyn Nets? I have some thoughts about these guys.
Man. I mean, I still think they're going to fall, man. I just they might still make the playoffs just because of how late in the season it is. It might be a play-in team. I mean, they beat the Heat last night 106, 116,
Mm,
105. Mikal Bridge,
mm.
the Mikal Bridges is no throw in this trade, by the way. He is a get for them. 45 points, 17 of 24, 4, 6 from 3, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
Not
That
bad.
boy is good.
Not
He's good.
bad. I think if they can keep him happy, I don't know. I I don't know how players are going to react when they are in trade talks. So I know there was a lot of talk of him getting flipped the same day on the trade deadline to that
Yeah.
that the Nets might just go
All
all
in.
out, so to speak, and just go all let's get as many assets as possible. But
Mm-hmm.
if they can salvage that and make him happy, and they have Dinwiddie back, who is a guy who thrived there. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
suggesting that Dinwiddie's going to be a consummate all-star or anything like that, but he's a very good second to third option. You start to add more talent around this team. I agree with you. I think Brooklyn will be a playoff team this year because partially of what you've said, that it's
Yeah.
going to be hard for them to
They're
drop
it's
all
just
the
gonna
way
be really
out.
hard for them to drop. They're 34 and 24 right now. It's tough.
I think this can be a quick turn on the rebuild. Unfortunately, they have the albatross that is Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that one.
Ben Simmons, the player, not the person. I don't want to upset anybody, but
Yeah, his
he's not.
career's come to a screaming halt.
I would almost never feel confident saying this about any NBA player, James, but I think at this point, one of us would be more valuable on that
Ah,
bench.
man, it's sad. Did you see the comments from Jacques Vaughn about having trouble playing him
Yeah.
last
Do you
week?
remember? Do you? Yeah. I mean, for those who didn't,
Mhm.
what do you have it handy, or do you remember? It was
No,
essentially
it was essentially they've got a glut of position players at his spot, and it's just hard to find him minutes, and
right.
he can't shoot. He doesn't. He's scared around the rim. He's lost all It's weird, man. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's like he's got the yips. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I saw someone reposted one of Ben Simmons's college scouting reports, and it had some interesting comments in the comment section.
Oh boy.
Um, about the between the ears kind of stuff, essentially saying
Yeah.
seems to have some mentality issues, doesn't always show up for big games, has a
Yeah.
bit of a me
Hmm.
first personality, needs everything to be built around him,
Oof.
doesn't do well with coaching, and it's like, dang, dude, this dude, he
That's
tried to tell you, he tried to tell you,
yeah,
nobody would
man.
listen.
Yeah. Oof.
Oh,
Woof.
hopefully that guy
Wow.
somewhere is able to get a raise based on that
Yeah.
one
Right.
shot. He's like, listen,
Nailed it.
hire me because I'll save you millions.
Hmm. Good
But
for him. Wow. I
I,
did not see that.
if they're able to get anything out of him, it will be a miracle.
Yeah,
But
I don't see anything. I just see him honestly
yeah,
running his course, getting cut. Like I just don't see it with him.
it's
I
amazing.
think let's go back to this. So Mikal Bridges is for what they had to deal with, and the Kyrie and KD, just the blow up that happened last week. To get Mikal Bridges back is a heck of a piece to build on. He's only 26, man. He's good. He's
As,
good.
as far as failures go, I really think they have found a way to come out of this thing about as well as they could have when
Yeah.
you consider what happened and the timing of it. Because we
Yeah,
mentioned
the timing was
Dinwiddie
horrific. Yeah.
and Bridges, but Cam Johnson's there and Dorian Finney-Smith, like they they have so many of the pieces that now if they're just able to snag one or two big free
Nick
agents,
Claxton was playing
everything
better.
else. Nick Claxton is there. Yes, like they have all the complementary
Hmm.
pieces already, so they can just drop two superstars that actually will play and play together. Add they might not even need two because Mikal Bridges may
Mikal
very well
Bridges
be
may
one
be
of
one of them. Yeah.
and then you just get one, or you get another Spencer Dinwiddie-esque. Because right now, I would put Dinwiddie, maybe Claxton above. I think Claxton is trending to be a higher level. It's hard to compare a point guard and a
Yeah, different positions. It's just tough.
but I have them both in those like higher tier. They're not superstars, but they're quality. You know,
Hmm.
you're thrilled if they're your third or fourth option, but you can win some games if they're your second option. You know what I
Yep.
mean? They might get you 30 on any given night. So it could even just be one big free agent, and then a couple. We all know how that goes. A couple more
Yep.
veterans come in
Mhm.
on a minimum. They want to win a
Yeah.
chip. Easier route
Suddenly.
in the East now.
Yep.
As weird as that is to say, it's very top heavy.
It
The
is
two are
very
the
top
two at the top are
heavy.
very tough, but it's easier to get a ticket to the dance in the East right now than it is in the
Hmm.
West. Feels like it's the early aughts all over again. But
Yeah, I mean the bottom three in the East are the Hawks, Raptors, Wizards. Ooh, yuck, that's
mm-mm,
gross.
mm-mm. The poor Pacers are
Your
still
boys are
probably not out of the reach yet, which is
your boys are
unbelievable.
struggling, man.
They
Even
need to
with
get out, keep
2-8
losing,
in their last 10, they have struggled.
keep losing, boys. It'll be all
Yep.
right. It'll be okay because they're gonna set Pacer history this weekend in the All-Star break. I'm just gonna segue
Oh
to the
yeah, oh
All-Star
my
break. Why
lord.
not?
You are gonna
Let's
you're
do
gonna
it.
claim this is history. This is the dumbest thing ever, guys. He's
Let's
right
just
though. This is technically history.
let's just get this over with. I know. Well, I'm excited for parts of the All-Star weekend, obviously. I think the players, some of them may view it as like just give us the weekend off kind of thing. I like that the NBA continues to try to find new ways to make it enjoyable. I don't know how much of the actual All-Star game I'll be watching, if any. Probably just catch the highlights, to be honest with you. But
Hmm.
I am a person who likes to watch the dunk and three-point contest, so I
Yep.
figured we could preview those and maybe make some picks just for fun. So let me start with the skill challenge of all
Yep.
things, because we're gonna save my favorite part here for a little later. We've got Team Antetokounmpo once again. We've got
That's fun.
that's my favorite part. Team Utah and Team Rookies or Rooks, which has Paolo, Jaden Ivey, and Jabari Smith. So, James, any favorites for you in the skills challenge?
I'm gonna go with the Jazz. I kind of like Sexton and Clarkson. Like I kind of like that. I worry about
Kessler?
the
Yeah.
the Antetokounmpo's. There's a lot of question marks there. Now Thanasis will play hard as heck. He'll zoom around, but even like even Giannis isn't. I mean, from a skill competition, like not somebody I'd put up there. And then the Rooks are interesting. I don't hate the Rooks, but I'm gonna go Team Jazz here. I'm going Team Jazz here.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give me the rookies. These are 3 guys that I paid a lot of attention to in the offseason. For those of you who don't know my role,
Oh yeah.
last word on basketball, I cover mainly the NBA, but I do dabble in college sports, mainly when it comes to the draft. So my college
Hmm.
consumption is focused around that. These 3 guys, no one's surprised. They're all 3 top 5 picks here. So, they are absolute dogs, and the things that they can do, the skill sets that they have, I think and they'll have a little something to prove, I think, too. So give
Hmm.
me the rookies in the skill
I don't
challenge.
hate it. I don't hate it.
All right, and we'll go to the dunk contest next. Now we've got a sleeper here, our main man in the blue coats, but
I'm going with the sleeper, the old Texas Tech product, Mac
yes.
McClung. Look, he's not even on an NBA roster. He's a G League guy. Let's roll with him.
I like it. I love seeing Kenyon Martin Jr.
Yep.
on the screen. Well, I should say I have mixed feelings about it
It makes
because
you
it
feel
it
old, bud.
it reminds me how old I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
we're
"Hey,
old.
I had your dad's rookie card."
Yeah, we're old, bud.
Like, "Oh,
That one
geez,
that one
man."
hurts.
That one stings a
Hmm.
little bit. So that's my runner. I'll put it this way, I will be happy if either of them win. I'm
Yep.
with you. I'm all in on Mac McClung for a couple of reasons.
Yep.
One, everyone loves an underdog. I think it's a great story for the league to have him win it, to have a G League player at all win it,
Yep.
just adds legitimacy to that program. And hopefully he does some creative things that maybe gets the superstars of the NBA to want to do this
Hmm.
because somehow, some way, I think this current generation of NBA superstars, they see the dunk contest as I have nothing to gain and everything to lose because
Yep.
I can do cool dunks in game, and if I mess one of these up, I'm a meme.
Yep.
That the stars were doing this in the '90s because
Stars don't
everyone
do it now.
they forgot after a week if you messed one up. They'll remember the iconic ones, but they won't remember, it won't you won't be memed to death for a week if
Mhm.
you mess it up. So I somehow, some way, somebody's got to do something to motivate and inspire these guys to go out there, because that's another one of the biggest disappointments and what ifs in NBA history. If just go back the last 2 decades almost and think
Yeah, a
about the
lot of
players
big
that should
names.
have been in dunk contests. It's sad. So go Mac McClung. I
Yep,
mean,
I agree.
that's all I got there. Let's see. You ready for the 3-point contest? Ready for
Yeah, this
my
is the
main
big one.
event?
This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one.
Which means we'll let
Man.
you give some
Oh.
analysis first. I'm gonna sit back here and see. Do you have a favorite? I do this thing way too many ways. I have a favorite. I have somebody I want to win. I have somebody who's not a pacer that I want to win. For my own.
Okay, all right. So let's go. I'm gonna first off, it's weird that Julius Randle's in this. I don't know his stats off the top of my head. I'm just gonna say that. I'm probably wrong again, just like I was earlier, but I think that's odd. I'm gonna go wild. I'm gonna take Kevin Herter. I am going
I love it.
left field guy. I love Kevin Herter this week.
I love it. I love that pick. Now, I will say you're not out of the realm completely because Julius Randle is an addition. He is a replacement for Anthony
He's
Simons,
That's right. Anthony Simons is hurt. That's right.
which as
Yep.
a
Forgot
as a
about that.
90s kid, I was so excited to see 2 Pacers and 2 Portland Trailblazers. This
Mhm.
for the kids like things for the dumbest reasons, but in the
Correct. Yes.
90s, the Pacers and the Blazers both had the same 3-color triangle pattern that came down.
Hmm.
You know those jerseys I'm talking about?
Yep.
The Reggie Miller, Rick Smits, Art Vitas, Sabonis era.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
because of that, 7 and 8-year-old Kevin, loved the Portland Trailblazers because it just looked, and honestly, Portland, Indianapolis, it just felt like a couple of small market teams. So I was, my 90s heart was just so overflowing with nostalgia to have 2 Blazers, 2 Pacers. No, we can't have it. Not only that, they replace him with a New York Knick of all things, because
Yeah.
my goodness. But no, happy for Julius Randle. I think he will surprise some folks. But I love the Kevin Herter pick.
Hmm.
I'm going to say that I would not be upset at all if we see Dame Lillard win this thing. I would. He is the
Yeah, I love having the super. There's a couple of superstars. Him, Tatum. Like I
yeah,
love having the big names in there. I do love that.
and I love the up and coming names on top of it as well. We've
Yep.
got the
Good mix.
Markkanens, Halliburton. Now, Buddy Hield, I'm going to talk about. We're going to give Buddy Hield his shine here for a minute because James, here's a little cool stat for you. You may not have known this, but as of, I believe, yesterday, maybe it was Tuesday, Buddy Hield has broken the Indiana Pacers single season 3-point record only 60 games in. Now, if that doesn't
Wow.
tell you how much the game has changed,
Yes,
I don't know
correct.
what
Because the
will, because
Pacers had one Reggie Miller,
yeah,
legendary 3-point shooter, but the game has
yeah,
just changed so much.
he's got 20 more games to just obliterate that
Ah.
record. So
Are you happy with them keeping him and Miles?
I am. I
Mhm.
I am happy. Now, if Miles hadn't re-signed, I would have been
Yeah,
on
all things
board
considered.
to
Yeah, yeah.
trade Buddy, right? At that point, I would say
Yep.
trade Buddy. But with Miles coming back and seeing the growth that I've seen from Halliburton and seeing what Matherin's done in his rookie year, knowing in my heart, I still believe guys like Jalen Smith have a lot he played poorly early on in the season. He's
Mhm.
been buried in that rotation. Poor guy is in the same situation he was in Phoenix. I still believe in
Mhm.
him. They have a lot of guys on that team. So the Pacers, much like I said about Brooklyn, I think the Pacers are one guy away, or they may just be another year of all these young
Yeah.
guys developing
Mhm.
away. And so because of that, I am happy that they kept Buddy and Miles, because if 2 or 3 guys continue to grow, like, the team's there, and
Yeah.
then they're at the very least,
Because
I don't
Matherin's
need.
going to get better.
Yeah.
Halliburton's going to get better. Yeah, you're right.
And then we're at least, as long as we're not a one and done. I'm just tired of seeing the Pacers be an 8 seed or get knocked out in the first
Smoke.
round.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let me watch one playoff series victory and I'll be okay.
Yes.
Some fans
Mhm.
think that's ridiculous, but come live my small market life and tell me I should dream for
Yes. Correct.
championships
Yes.
every year. No,
Mhm.
maybe we get there, but I'm happy with it. I think the team played too well, showed too much promise to blow it up once Miles agreed to re-sign, because I think you can't re-sign him and then tell him we're going to start a rebuild from scratch, right? And say,
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
we're going to still trade everybody else away. Sorry,
yeah,
Miles. Might have been a condition for him to sign also.
probably.
But as we get into that, we talked about Reggie.
Hmm.
I've mentioned Paul George at one point. I think we both have talked about him at one point or another, which is why I find it interesting that no Indiana Pacer has ever won the 3-point contest.
Two of them in there this time, man. You got a chance.
Got the best odds in the house. I'm throwing this watch to the other side of the room. Absolutely useless. And so there we go. I'm gonna give my pick. Give me Tyrese Halliburton.
All right,
Although
I'll give you the homer. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
give me Tyrese. Although Buddy Hield would be a cool story too. Although yeah, that would just at that point he's just dancing on the grave of Reggie Miller's career, and
Yeah, all right.
I'd have to take some sugar pills to swallow that one. But let's wrap things up with what we got the roster here for the Rising Stars. Now, I forget exactly the layout of this, but it's got 4 teams. I know they're
I don't
shorter
remember it either.
games. We got some good names here, though. Anybody sticking out that you
I'm
would
just
expect a big game from?
Oh, Paolo's gonna have a big game. I'm calling him right now. Let's see. Josh Giddey, that's fun.
I love we have the Team Jason is the one I'm looking at because that's our non-NBA
Oh yeah,
squad
because you
there. We
got
got
that's interesting because you
some
got
good names. Yeah.
Scoot Henderson's on that team. Kenny Lofton Jr. is
Scottie
doing a
Pippen
lot for
Jr.
the G League team. I'm very interested to see more so than anything. I'm interested to see Scoot. You
Right.
know,
That's a big one. Yeah. See Scoot play against the NBA. That I see, and this is stuff
there's
like
a lot of good. Man, there's some players in this. There's some
this
good players
stuff
on this.
right here. And the for me, it's the addition of the G League and overseas guys that makes this almost more
Yeah.
worthwhile than watching the All-Star game because you're getting a chance, like as a
Mhm.
scout,
Some of these
as
guys are gonna play. Like
yeah,
them dudes, them G League dudes are here to play. They're not. This ain't gonna be no junk to them.
Scoot is potentially, I mean, any other year,
Any other year,
he's the
he's a
number 1 pick potentially. This year, he's probably a lock it too, I would think. I don't know. There's
yeah.
other names that we hear. Throw them out in the comments. Who do you think?
Wow, there's one name.
Uh, mhm. I know it's Wemby, but there might be. I mean, I've heard some other names. What is it? Amon Thompson. I've heard some of these guys that I don't know. Depending on your scenario, there may be teams that would say, "Give me this guy over Scoot." But I'm telling you, he's a top 3 talent in this draft class.
He's really he's
Most
gonna
years,
be
he'd be the
yes.
guy. It'd be suck for
Hmm.
Scoot, not Wemby watch would be what we'd be talking about. So yeah, to have a chance, and like you said, this isn't just nothing for these guys. This is a
Hmm.
chance for them
Yeah,
to prove I
that's gonna be
belong to be
fun.
here all the time.
And
So
that's Friday night too. That's early, so that's a good start to the weekend on Friday. Tomorrow night, geez, that is tomorrow night. I completely forget tomorrow's Friday.
oh yeah, and check it out. I may
Hmm.
I may even do a little Twitter space after. I've been thinking about doing that, James. You know, I
You've
want to get
talked
some more
about it, man.
interaction. One of these days, I'm gonna have the courage to just start a Twitter space cold. But in the meantime, I guess we'll look at the All-Star
Hmm.
pool. Now, I think we've got some names here that aren't going to be playing, but and then we've got this got a little bit, it's got some of the old data, but interesting. Obviously, it's not East West on the court, but I do find that funny
Hmm.
with so many couple of guys on here that got traded.
Oh yeah, wow! And that is that is funny because this is straight from the NBA's website.
Yeah,
I didn't notice that. Yeah, you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie with the wrong teams on there.
and it's
I
not
didn't
like
notice that.
yeah. Here, I'll hide the banner. Like this is it's you've got the date on it and everything.
Yeah, I
NBA
pulled this.
TNT.
I
Yeah.
found this today and sent this to you. This isn't something from a week ago. That's funny. I did not realize that.
Now, and I don't
It's
even know if necessarily that's an error, if that's just acknowledging
I don't.
the
Yeah, that
conference
is.
in the
Yeah,
teams.
exactly.
Because I mean, what are you gonna put Kevin Durant hasn't played a game as a Sun, and Kyrie has played 2, so I think
Yeah,
that's one of those. It's like, well, yeah, you're an all-star
it's
as a net.
yeah, probably
Um,
acknowledging that. And now the setups that aren't they drafted? Aren't Giannis and LeBron drafting? Isn't it like an hour before the game? It's something weird now.
yes,
They changed it again.
yep, you bring it up, that's a good point, and that's why they've slotted out this player pool the way that they've done because, yeah, the event is essentially going to start with, with the draft, which I don't know. How do you feel about that? Does that improve it for you? I know in the past the NBA had used that as an event, right? They televised the draft.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
think
that
they're
that
doing it
stat.
again. Um, I don't. As long as it's got the Elon ending, like that's all I care about. If it goes, because when they did that, was that last year? It was so fun. Like they actually cared. They were trying to win the game at the end. Like
Yep.
as long as that's around, I don't think it goes one way or the other. It's fun to see him draft. Like hopefully there's some interaction. There's some stuff. Like I think I like having a draft. I don't hate it. So I'm okay with it. But to me, if it's the same ending of the game, that's all that matters to me.
Fair. That's I think yeah, having an exciting game that people care about, that want to watch,
Yeah.
that's first and foremost important. I do miss just the conference base, but that's because my nostalgia. And honestly, the only
Yeah.
reason I want conference base is and you don't even have to do conference base to do this. What I want is for one team to be wearing their home jerseys
Yeah.
and for the other team to be wearing their away or
All
alternate
whites.
jerseys. Yeah,
Yep.
one team rock the all whites, the other team wear whatever colorful jersey that you
Yeah.
they have so many
I
alternates
agree.
now. It would look
I
phenomenal. It would
agree. I
look
would
so
because the
good.
last 5 years, specifically the All Star jerseys have been terrible.
Instead, they just do these bland gradients like, "Oh, it starts
Yeah,
blue, but then it's orange at the bottom." Who
it's so
cares?
bad. I want them
It's the
in their
opposite of
jerseys.
design. The
Yeah.
NBA in 2023 is anti-design, and you need to look no further than the Utah Jazz to find that. They just don't wanna spend money on graphic design. Everything that looks cool is from 30 years ago,
Yes.
and everything
Correct.
that's
Yes.
new is just 2
Awful.
colors and block lettering. It's
Yes.
sad.
I actually
No
agree with you.
no offense to the folks doing those jobs. I'm sure they would love to be doing more, and it's their bosses that are strapping them down. But let me say this to take it back to the NBA All-Star game in the draft, because that was the point I was starting at, but those jerseys took me on a tangent as they tend to do. I love them. But I don't love the draft. If you're going to do the draft, I think that's the best way to do it is to do it the same night because,
Hmm.
as you mentioned, the All-Star game isn't what it once was. At the very least, we want it to be exciting at the end, but how many people are going to even watch the beginning?
Yeah,
So,
that's the problem. Is it's just such.
what
It
are you
is a
going to put up
super
front
exhibition game.
to make them want to watch and then hopefully stay? You put the draft up front, right? Because I
Hmm.
do think in previous years that the draft has done well for TNT again because you've got Shaq, you've got
Yep.
I think there are fans out there who like the pregame, postgame, and half-game show. Like, they'll watch that even for bad games that they don't really like on TV because they
Yeah,
like
just
that
because love those
crew.
guys. Yep.
They like Ernie, they like Kenny, they wanna hear these folks,
Hmm.
and so, yeah, I think it's the smartest thing to do, and it gives me a feel, James. It reminds me of an open gym on a Saturday night. You gotta or you're at the YMCA. You're drafting your team to start, I
Hmm.
got this guy over here. So I think that makes it a little more relatable too to all the folks at home. So give me that. I'm good with it. At some point, I hope we just
Hmm.
get to, you know, and they're getting so creative with this. They could do it both ways. You could shorten both games instead of playing to 150. You could go 2K style and just play to 50 or something. Do East versus West, and then do
Yeah, like
Team
you could
LeBron
have some
versus
fun
Team
with it.
Giannis. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
you could do all kinds of stuff. So
Hmm.
shoot, you know what I'd love to see these guys do now that the big three is a thing and it's proven that it's here to stay. 3-on-3 all-star competition. Like
That'd be fun. Yeah.
I don't know, limit it to 12 guys. Four teams of 3. I don't know, it gives everybody an opportunity to shine. Everybody gets more minutes
Hmm.
that way. Everybody gets to do some stuff. But anyway, I could brainstorm on how to make the NBA's All-Star weekend better for all of us till we're all blue in the face. But I will digress. All right. I will move on from this. James, where do you want to go next? I have a trade rumor here I could look at. We haven't really talked about Kawhi being back in Terminator mode. I wouldn't mind spending a little more time on the Clippers because I got to be honest with you, they are, if healthy, they might be my new candidate to be the
Um,
second best team in the West.
yeah, I let's talk about Kawhi for a second. We don't have to
Let me
spend a
pull up
ton.
a little clip for these folks here so they can
Yeah,
see just how on fire this man has been. This
obviously he missed all last season He's been on an extreme minutes restriction. That minutes restriction has finally been pulled. And folks, if you forgot, let me tell you,
Let me tell you
he's
something.
back. Let me tell you something. This man is back and dangerous. He's averaging 25 in February, averaged 27 in January, averaging 6.2 rebounds, 4.4 assists, shooting in February, he's 56% from three. He had 33 points the other night against Golden State in a win, 33, 7, and 4, including that shot you showed. Shooting 47% from the field. His defense is what it used to be. He's a menace defensively. I wish I should have sent you the clip. He blocks Aiton at the rim on a help side shift, comes over. If people forgot, and it's easy to forget, like 2 years ago, if he doesn't get hurt, they may win the title. And he is, man. He's balling, dude.
Good.
He is balling.
Just as good as he ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, to expand it beyond Kawhi a little bit, because yeah, they're going to go as far as he can take them, because he is that guy. But they've got him, they've got Paul George. If those guys stay healthy, they've got Norman Powell, I believe, coming off the bench. They've got Eric Gordon coming off the
Gordon
bench.
just came over.
Terrence Mann,
Bones is over there now. Yep.
Mason Plumlee now to back up Zubats on his own, also pretty good. I believe they still have a Morris twin down there, don't they?
Yes, they've got one of them. Yeah,
that's a very deep team. There are not a lot of holes on that team. Did I name anyone on that of those names we just listed? Is there anyone who you wouldn't mind? Like, there's no one on that team that I would say I don't want that guy on my team.
Yeah, I'm just going
these are a
through
lot of gamers here.
Yeah, they got some. Yeah, they traded Luke Kennard. Mason Plumlee came over in the trade. Eric Gordon came over in the trade. Bones came over. I like them, man. I think they're sneaky good.
Yeah, you lose some shooting with Kennard, but you got it back. You got some of it back with Gordon. Bones Highland still needs to improve his consistency, but he hit a big three in that game against Golden State. He can shoot from the outside. I like you. Yeah, you mentioned they're sneaky good. Like I said, that I know that Golden State was undermanned, and neither of those teams was playing defense on Tuesday, by the way. But offensively, that Clippers offense that I saw could keep pace with any team in the league right now. And they just started playing together. They don't like, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect by any means, but you got like there's one play in particular, Paul George has the ball in the corner. They run a down screen action for Kawhi on the opposite side, and he just runs a curl, foul line extended, perfect bounce pass, rhythm jumper.
Mid-range king, if anybody's forgot.
How are you going to stop it? And that's, again, on the other side, you've got Paul George with the option to call pick and roll on the baseline. If that doesn't work, I mean, just good luck. You're going to have to outscore them if they're healthy. But then, unlike a lot of teams whom you have to outscore, they have Kawhi Leonard on the outside, who in the playoffs will be giving you 40 minutes, and he'll be playing that kind of defense.
Yeah, he'll play. He'll guard the best player, and he's going to score a lot, and he's going to be the best defender. No questions asked.
Look out for them Clippers, man. So I've got a story here, an allegation. Now, I don't know how much stock we're going to put into this, James, but I felt like we had to talk about it. So I'll pull up the tweet so everyone knows what we're talking about. According to Colin Cowherd.
That's interesting, man.
Who he allegedly has an NBA source who he's known for a long time say that the Dallas Mavericks and Anthony Davis are an option. Now, these are his words. He says Anthony Davis is pouting. LeBron's holding him accountable. LeBron's not happy with him. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, James. That sounds like Colin Cowherd is his source. Like the way that was phrased, that doesn't sound like someone said that to Colin Cowherd. That like I've listened to a lot of that guy over the years. It sounds like his assessment is the source, but I'll hold my thoughts for a minute. What do you think? Any legitimacy?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's just so weird because nobody else has reported on it. Nobody's picked it up, talked about it. Just so weird.
He's trending on Twitter right now because of it. So that's why I wanted to, or I stand corrected. An hour ago, before we went live, he was trending on Twitter because of this take, mainly with a
Yeah.
lot of people saying not to trust him because
Yeah,
hmm,
it's interesting.
you think he's pouting? I would not.
I had 28 last night. I'm sure he was pouting.
Why would Anthony Davis, a man who's hit a game-winning three in an NBA Finals, all of a sudden get frustrated that LeBron James is holding him accountable? Did LeBron James not hold him accountable for the last
Yeah,
2 years?
he just hasn't said anything to him. Like,
Ha
come on, man, that
has
doesn't
LeBron
make
James
sense.
ever been known, and I have admittedly casted a few stones in LeBron's direction. Has LeBron ever been known to be someone who doesn't hold his teammates accountable? I think if
Mm-hmm.
anything, it's the opposite. Like maybe that's maybe there's the morsel of truth. Maybe after 2 years of that level of accountability, maybe Anthony Davis is starting to get tired of it. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do we say here, James? Winning cures all, cures a lot. I don't know. You mentioned a good point though, and this is where I will pass it back to you. Kyrie for AD, huh? A little sign and trade in Dallas.
Whew, man, that's sheesh, 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 sheesh. Oh man, LeBron would get his guy, and AD'd probably be a little bit better fit, but we'll see. We got to see how this all plays out this year. Both those teams, they have big playoff runs. I don't think they're making any changes.
Kyrie in Hollywood is both a fever dream and a award-winning docuseries in the making.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine someone just following that guy for a year around Hollywood? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Be something.
it's fun to daydream and it's fun, and this is why I had to favorite the Lakers on ESPN because no matter what, there's always news
Mm-hmm.
about them. So apparently Anthony Davis, now that the team is the best it's looked in about 2 years, he can't stand it. Now he wants out. He wants to go to Dallas, apparently. So where
Right.
Colin was right, where Colin maybe was wrong. So we'll see.
We'll
Future
see.
will
We'll
see
see.
which one
Yeah,
of us
we'll see.
is last standing. But no, I just thought that one was fun. And of course, please take any of my mockery of Colin Cowherd with a grain of salt. Okay, listen, I respect my elders and those who have blazed the trail that we walk upon. But uh, I could do my Cowherd impression right now, but I'm just gonna save those for Joey
Save.
Molano. Yeah, whatever that
Yeah,
guy's name.
he's good. He's good too.
All
Where are
right,
my
so I've
notes?
got some buyout candidates here. What have you got over there? Any other games we need to look at? I am refreshing our score from today. It looks like the
Um,
Clippers and Suns have finally kicked off. Speaking
your
of them,
your thoughts on Luka and Kyrie? We haven't touched on this yet.
we haven't. That's a good point. Good transition from the last point as well. All right, so
What are your thoughts? We don't have to spend too much time, but give me your thoughts, Kev.
I I have mixed feelings so far. I would say on a positive note, I've seen accountability from both players in post-game conferences already.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about I Kyrie saying, "I was looking for Luka to do this. He did this. I should have given him more spacing. I should have
Yeah.
been in a different spot." Like that's
There,
great to hear that.
that stuff we talk about though. I was just talking about the Suns. Like, takes time to figure that all out.
Yeah, it does. But it's so refreshing to me, and I'm not trying to get I'm not willing to buy into it wholeheartedly yet because it's sort of a fool me once, shame on you
Mm-hmm.
situation. But it's he's saying the right things, he's doing the right things. Luca also saying and doing the right things,
Yep.
talking about that growth. Now, conversely, I will say it has already been brought up to Kyrie. He's already been asked about his long-term plans,
Yeah.
and his
Gee,
response
man, it didn't even take a like. Good. I saw it too.
like was it like a day? Was it the first game?
Yeah, it was.
And his response was okay, right? I don't know. I have no critiques or advice to offer for, hey, you could have answered it this way. But his answer was essentially, "I don't want to talk about that because that's a distraction." I I think that says a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Does that not? Now, one of two things, James. Either Kyrie has learned a lesson from Boston, because lest we forget, Kyrie did promise Boston he would resign. So maybe this is
He
maybe
did. Yes, he
that's
did. Yes, he
eh,
did.
and maybe in the back of his head, or dude has no interest in signing in Dallas. He'd be totally cool with winning a title with Luka, because who wouldn't?
Yep.
Uh, but after that, he's completely plans on uh, exploring free agency. What do you think? Do you think he's interested at all in staying in Dallas? What do you think
I
Kyrie's
think
up
he's got to be interested. I just think he wants to see how this plays out, focus on this, and see, because if they just flame out and are terrible in the playoffs, then he'll just run and he can run to LA and go hang out with his boy.
Yeah, right. And it's easy. Everybody loves you when you're the new guy in town, but
Uh,
in Dallas, they may not love you if you don't produce. And you're never going to be the guy in Dallas. You're never going to be anything close to the guy in Dallas for the next 15 years, right? Barring some catastrophic injury.
mhm.
No one other than Luka
Yeah,
Doncic
Luca
will
owns
be
that
the
place.
guy in Dallas. He's has too much equity. They love him. The owner loves him. The city loves him. So yeah, I don't know if that's still part of Kyrie's desires, which I don't really think it is anymore. Then Dallas might be out for him. But
Mhm.
I think he's open to it. I will tell you this. If I had to bet on it, I would bet that Kyrie is not a Dallas Maverick next year. That's where I'm
Interesting. Yep.
leaning. But I
Mhm.
don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility at
Yep.
all for him to
Yep.
stay.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all I had on it.
Yeah, that was just I want to talk. I think the health thing is the worrisome thing right now. Uh, Kyrie missed last night's game. I think they've only played 2 games together since the trade. Luka was missing games with his heel contusion, and then Kyrie he's been hurt. So that's a problem right now. I'm not ready to write him off, but they got to get healthy. That's a big thing.
They do, and you know what? This can be a time for me to add to the Mavericks conversation here a little bit, because I think we've talked about some buyout guys. I think they have got to be
Mm-hmm.
looking for a couple more bodies in the buyout
Yeah,
market. I'm
yeah,
looking at these names, and nobody really does what they got rid of. So like there are no really great 3 and D guys.
yeah. They
Can
need
maybe
him.
give
Yeah,
you like
yeah.
what, maybe Will Barton is probably the best, and
And
I
he's
don't know
not
about his.
it.
I don't think he's a D guy. He's got the 3, maybe not so much the I don't know. He's not a lot. When I think 3 and D guy, Will Barton's not anywhere towards the top of that list.
I agree. Yep.
And so that's their biggest need. None of those names are available in the buyout market currently.
Nope.
So I don't know what they're going to do,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think
found
this is. Think they're gonna run it through, man. This is it.
well, they did something kind of interesting, James, that I don't fully understand. They worked out LaMarcus Aldridge.
That was yeah. You told me about that.
Why?
I don't know.
I give kudos to him for continuing to go through it. I think it's kind of in a Chris Bosh scenario now, where it's like maybe it's time for, because I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a similar situation. If memory serves,
May
like LaMarcus has, I don't know if it's a heart issue or what it is, but
Yeah, I
he's
don't
had to
remember
retire
either.
physically. Like it hasn't, like doctors have made him retire.
Yeah.
And so I don't know about this. As much as it would be a feel good story for me to be like, "Oh, look at LaMarcus Aldridge joining Dallas. Now they've got this other guy, he can make another playoff run." I we don't need I don't ever want to see someone collapse on a basketball court, Like the game's in a good place. It's growing. Let's
Yeah.
let's save
Yeah.
people from themselves. Maybe the big
Yep.
3 is in order. I don't know if that's maybe a
Yeah.
little less wear and tear on the human body, but I did think it was interesting to see that he was getting a call. But what do you think, James? Am I completely out of line here? Should LaMarcus Aldridge get another shot?
I don't even know when the last time he's played in. What kind like he can't be in any good shape. Like I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I'm also like that's interesting. Like
What's
that's just such a name. Like he averaged 12.9 for 47 games with Brooklyn a year ago. Man, it's just interesting. Very
yeah.
interesting.
I mean, yeah, he Could definitely add a veteran presence. You know, he could
Yeah.
he could pull the Udonis Haslam, James Johnson role. You know, he could do that, but I tell you what, I will be shocked and a little bit sad if LaMarcus Aldridge gets signed while Carmelo Anthony still sits at home because I can't
I
believe
just came across Mark Stein reporting that DeMarcus Cousins, Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Aldridge, and Carmelo Anthony are actively trying to find a new team, likely before March 1st. So there you
let's
go, bud.
go, boys, go on,
Carmelo's not
boys.
Carmelo's career is not dead yet.
I know he's been in the gym. Send him to Phoenix. You really want to be the mid-range mafia? Give
Oh my
Carmelo a
lord,
10-day.
that yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know that that's a realistic request,
Oh,
but that's
that's
something I'd love
something.
to do in
Yeah.
2K, you know. Hey,
Oh
we're
boy.
we're 80 minutes deep. We get close to slap
We
happy
get a little
territory here towards
loony.
the end.
Yep.
We get a little loose here. What else do we got? Uh, I'm not going to predict Team LeBron or Team Giannis. If you have a prediction for that,
No,
you can.
I think it's
But
virtually impossible to predict that. You know, just without knowing the rosters and stuff and how it's going to go and how are they going to play hard. So
so I guess we go then to next Thursday, right? The 23rd. I can pull that up and we
yeah,
can
let's pull that up.
do a little preview on our way out as we say goodbye to y'all. We'll talk about what we'll be looking at when you see us next.
Let's get this up here.
Of course, we've got the Celtics at
Yeah,
Indiana,
your boys
a
getting
must win, easy, hands down Pacers victory there. Of course, no, uh,
your
I
boys
would,
gonna get rolled.
ooh, yeah, take the Celtics to cover whatever spread.
There we
No,
go. Okay,
uh, we
let's
got
go. Let's go. Let's start.
Warriors,
Denver
Lakers.
Warriors versus Lakers is the 10 o'clock game.
Oh
That's
yeah, you got them
fun.
in order. Yep.
So let's start 7 o'clock. You go a little bit right there. Nuggets at Cleveland. That is fun, bud. That's fun.
I like that one. Nuggets
Mm-hmm.
at Cleveland. So that 25-6, you were talking about Denver has one of the best home records in the league. You know, Cleveland's right up there. Does the home court advantage do enough for you to pick Cleveland to win this one?
Nope, not me. I think coming off a week's rest, I like Denver on the road. I like Denver to go to Cleveland and win that game.
Oh, no argument here. No argument here. I will go
Yeah.
ahead and also take Denver. Next big one I think would probably be
Yep.
what, 7:30?
TNT
Grizzlies,
game, live game. Yep.
Sixers. Ooh, Grizzlies another bad team away from home.
Yep. What do you think there, Kev? I'm pretty leaning on side on that.
I think James Harden's feeling pretty good these
Mm-hmm.
days. He's letting the whole world know that he wasn't the crazy one, which I don't know, press X to doubt on some of that, but
Right.
he's living his best life. The Sixers are looking good. I don't understand some of their moves, i.e., signing Dwayne Dedman, but give me the Sixers at home
I
in
like
this
them
one.
too. I like them too.
Very good, very good. I think we're on the same page. What about I'm gonna this one might be quick, but I like this one because both these teams have been in our radar throughout the season.
Yeah.
So Pels at Raptors. You got your gut telling you either one of these teams
I
is
like
winning?
Toronto just because I don't think Zion's going to be back yet.
Yeah. Which by the way, did you notice that Podol had 30?
I did
Didn't it?
not. I did not
Yeah.
see that.
I want to say I don't know if it was his first game with Toronto or his second, but he led
I
all
think it's
scorers
for.
with 30.
I did
Yeah.
not. I think his first game he had 10 and 10. I did not see his second game. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yep. So he wanted to let you know that he might
Right.
just be that guy to push the Raptors into the 8th seed. Sorry.
You're right. I know we've talked at length
Uh,
about that. They doubled down, so that's interesting. All right, then you can go to your 10 o'clock game, Golden State at Los Angeles. That's your last one.
that's the last
Playoff
big one.
implication game.
What do you think here? Lakers at home
You
bodes
see it.
well for them.
You see the most important stat. What's the
Oof,
Warriors' record on the road?
7-22. You ready for a cool stat? One of those like a cool story, bro, but in this case it's a cool stat, bro.
Yes.
In the history of the NBA, at least going back as long as these statistics have been kept, I'm going to remove this for a second. The Golden State Warriors at 7-22. That's a sub 25% win percentage.
God.
Of the defending champions in NBA history, that is the third worst away winning percentage in NBA history. Only
Man,
2 other defending champions have been this bad when playing away from home.
that's wild.
Just one of the this Warriors stretch, like the Curry, Thompson, Draymond careers, so many weird anomalies. You know,
Yes.
they've been one of the best regular season teams of all time. Now they're one of the worst
Yep.
defending champions on the road of all time. They just
Mm-hmm.
so much. There'll be so many fun facts that you'll be able to pull from their careers. But that's another one. That was before the loss, so they were third all time at a
Yeah.
record of 7-21. They
Agree.
might be second all time here soon.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild, wild, man. That's so bad.
I don't know if they will right the ship that night. I don't know, James. I'm gonna take the Lakers
I think
because of
so
what
too.
we've seen recently. Maybe if Steph was healthy, okay, but
Yep. That's exactly how I feel. I'm Lakers all in there. I agree with that.
big time. Well, there you go. Well, next week, this time,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be talking about all these games, maybe doing a little all-star game recap. Maybe some
Yep.
cool stuff happened over the weekend, but for certain, we will be here next Thursday. Expect us at your usual time,
Yep.
9 to 9:15 Eastern. James, before we send them home, where can they find you? Any other final words for the folks?
Twitter, all social media, Schmeitzo6, and then here every Thursday, 9 p.m., 9:99 to 9:15, depending on how we're going.
Absolutely. Yeah. Depending
Mm-hmm.
on how we're going. And sometimes we share the floor, just like we did today with our brothers over at Necessary Roughness. So if you missed that, go check it out. They just went live right before us. So you've got another
Mm-hmm.
hour plus of sports content made just for you. Be sure to check that out. Again, we have multiple shows on the Stadium Rant Network. We've got Gritty Gamblers, Rumbles of Red, another damn fantasy podcast basically every night of the week. Now, the best way for you to know is to be subscribed with notifications on. So you'll be told 30 minutes before we go live. You'll never miss a show that way. Now, thank you so much for
Mm-hmm.
watching. I can be found right here, Twitter at @KevNevic_. Let us know. Love to hear from you there. Would love to feature. We'll put your tweet on screen. Let me know.
Mm-hmm.
We want to hear from you. Until next time, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.